Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are having a very prosperous and happy Sabbath. Um, I just want to thank many of you for watching my video, my very first YouTube video, and also for the comments that I've received. It definitely encourages me and gives me more courage, you can say, more confidence in sharing my journey. I thought long and hard before my very first video if I want to do this, if this is something that I can do. And this strong need where I want to share my journey and get more of our brothers and sisters, not just in the Seventh-day Adventist, but even outside of Seventh-day Adventist, to hear my journey and feel more connected to our Yeshua. And I mentioned in my previous video that we have this very sacred responsibility that we want to share the truth, share what we know as Seventh-day Adventists, because that's the only truth that we know. And I feel so confident today and so proud that, I found that path. God led me to that path, knew that I'm going to be on that path, and I did not resist. I opened my heart, my mind to learn more about Seventh-day Adventists, and here I am where I just want to share this because I feel so happy, and I feel like I'm protected in under Yeshua's shield, that I feel confident and excited to talk about my journey with all of you. So thank you so much for the encouragement in watching my very first video. I'm a very introverted person, so if I seemed nervous, if I seemed in any way, please forgive me. But at the end of the day, doing my second video right now, I feel more confident. I feel like this is the right thing to do after seeing all the views and comments from you all. Thank you again for that. Now, in my first video, I mentioned that I come from an Islamic or a Muslim background, and I wanted to take an opportunity to get into that a little bit, talk more about myself. How and why did I get into Seventh-day Adventism? So I am actually from, like I mentioned, from a Muslim background, a Sunni Muslim. My parents immigrated from South Asia, you could say from early 90s. Of course, they had me. I'm the oldest sibling. I have three younger brothers. Um, my immediate brother after me was born with autism, and then of course I have my two younger brothers. And as I was growing up, my mother has been, she's a mother. She's great because she pretty much instilled whatever she learned from Islam. And at the same time, she also instilled many of the Bengali values. Um, I'm actually Bengali. My parents immigrated from Bangladesh, and they have, um, throughout my life, you can say, I would say most 20 years of my life, they have been instilling that what a Bengali woman should be, what values should a Bengali have. And we know this through our study through Bible, that tradition and culture really impacts what the commands and the laws that Yeshua has put in, right? We see it with the Catholic Church, where they always trump their tradition and cultural values over God's word. So it's similar to that in Islam, but more of a Bengali perspective, where how a girl should be dressing, how they should be talking, right? What they should not be eating, and how they should be maintaining themselves in a social setting, right? So all of these kind of blend into, well, this is religion, this is Islam, kind of thing. So you can say when I was in grade 1, 2, and 3, my mom basically hired a Quran instructor for myself and my brother. And, every Saturday, every Sabbath day, at the time I didn't know Sabbath, they we would have a Quran instructor that would come in for an hour, and he would just teach us how to learn the alphabets, the Arabic alphabets, but also how to eventually read the actual Quran. Now, having those Quran classes, I learned how to read in Arabic, but I had no idea what we were reading, right? I had no idea what this sentence means in the Quran. The Quran is a beautiful book, right? It's a beautiful holy book for Muslims, but um, all my childhood, I never understood the Quran. Even when one day I just mustered up that courage to ask my Quran instructor, like, what does this mean? Right? I read this over and over. Um, if you are someone who's watching my video who's a Muslim, you can comment on this, but you can tell me. But a lot of it is repetition, right? We are required to pray 5 times a day, and a lot of it is repetition. Repetition where you just say it out of habit. You just, you're like, I need to pray, but let me just do this to pretty much make my Allah happy. But it never comes from your heart sincerely, which is something that really bothered me, is that it is repetition. You're saying the same verses over and over again from the Quran, but you don't fully understand, you don't truly mean it, because it's all repetition. You pray 5 times a day, it becomes a habit. It becomes like, okay, I just got to do it kind of thing. You have that type of attitude. And you don't want that, because when you're praying to Lord, when you're praying to God, you want to be sincere. You want to show that I'm praying to you because I want to do it, right? Not because I need to do it. And that's kind of where it gets to in Islam, where every year there's a month that you fast, right? You don't eat or drink for the whole day until sunset. And so a lot of Muslims through my journey that I met, they're like, oh, I need to fast, or this is so difficult. I just have to do this, right? There's always this like, I need to and I have to, but it's never I want to. And that kind of made me feel uncomfortable, because even I got to that point too. As I got into my early 20s, I realized that, wait a second, like, I should be praying with sincerity. I should want to pray, right? I want to reach out to God. I want God to hear my prayers. So I shouldn't be feeling that way where I need to do this. Like, Allah commanded me to do this. If I don't, I'm gonna go to hell. There shouldn't be that fear that if I don't do this, then I'm just gonna go to hell. Like, Allah will have no mercy on me. It should not be like that. It should not be based on fear that if I don't do this is what's gonna happen, right? I don't want to deal with the consequences. Is that what God truly wants from us, right? I had to ask this question here, that because it's so easy for Satan, for devil to just get into our hearts, because when we feel that this is a necessity, then we don't have the sincerity in our heart to actually do something out of our own will. And God gave us a free mind. God never, our Yeshua never gave us a life where he's controlling. He gives us the choice. He gives us the freedom to think for ourselves, to know to pretty much choose what we want, right? But it's that freedom that we have, that we should thank the Lord, because we can make that decision for ourselves, right? But we can't do everything by ourselves. We need our Yeshua, right? Whatever we have in this world, whatever we do in this world, this isn't from our will. This isn't from our freedom, right? I'll reinstate that here. This isn't more like we're doing this all by ourselves. Like, if I've achieved something, it isn't because of my own ability. God gave me that ability. Our Yeshua gave me that skill to be able to succeed in what we're doing. And that is only if Yeshua wants us to, right? In this world, in this life that we have here, nothing is done on our own. Our Yeshua is guiding to it. If Yeshua wants us to be successful in this place, absolutely he will help us, guide us through that to get to that point if he wants us, right? But as I grow, I notice that from an Islamic perspective, that everything is done through like whatever we achieve, whatever skills we have, it's done by myself, by me, right? But of course, we pray 5 times a day to pray to Allah, to tell him that, oh please Allah, give me this car, or please Allah, I hope that I pass this test, right? And if I don't pass the test, or if I don't, get what I want, then you automatically get the sense, because this is how we were brought up in this Islamic community, where, oh, you didn't pray enough, or you didn't give that enough effort, that Allah thought that you would even deserve it, right? So, but again, repetition, right? When you're praying, like, you only truly pray if you mean it, like towards the end. But the whole prayer, it's just repetition. You're just repeating the same verses over, the same positions, or that you're doing through the prayer. And then it becomes a habit, as I was mentioning. So that kind of rubbed me in it, in the wrong way as I grew up. I never questioned it when I was younger. I never said to my mom, like, I don't like this. I don't want to study the Quran. I don't want to pray. I never did this. I pretty much just blended in, but also to appease my parents. My parents, I wouldn't say that they're strict Muslims, but they're strict from a Bengali parent perspective, right? They truly value the cultural aspect over over religion. And so I'm the oldest child. I wanted to be my best behavior. I want to be a good example to my brothers. I never spoke up, right? And in fact, you can say the majority of my childhood, I was like riding that roller coaster, right? That, you know what, this is what it is. It makes my parents happy that I'm reading the Quran, I'm praying, I'll just do it. It never ever came from a sincere, heartfelt, connection to God, to Allah at the time, right? I never felt that I want to connect to Allah. It was more of, I'm just going to do it because my parents want me to do it, right? And that is such a difficult but also an easy trap to fall into for your kids. Um, I'm not a parent yet, but I know that my parents have this difficult job, that they want to raise good children that can turn into productive citizens in the society, right? They want their children to have a very good future, settled in, no problems, no issues, and they're just good people, right? But as I was growing up, it could go into the opposite way, where your children is just pretty much trying to make you happy, right? And is that what you want, right? My parents have always tried to mold me in such a way that I'm a very obedient daughter that is going to go into her studies and become a doctor. It's a very typical thing, either a doctor, a lawyer, right? Like, you go into a more prestigious profession, right? So they highly, they put that in my head, and even in my brother's head too, since we were little. And there's nothing wrong that my parents want the best for me, but it gives off the wrong message to your children, that they have no freedom to do what they want to do. They have no freedom to choose for themselves, or go or take a direction in their life that maybe isn't what you had expected, right? They're not open to that. And it came to a point where I unfortunately became rebellious, right? I'm not proud of myself being in that phase in my early 20s, where I just had enough with what I was dealing with, and with how controlling my parents became. It came to a point where I could not like this guy that I started talking to, right? He was from the same culture, he was from the same family background, and they just did not like it, right? And so I'll get into that in another video, what happened, what led me into that path. But it just became a breaking point for me that unfortunately I had to sever ties with my family. And when you have something this traumatic that happens in your life, you you most people usually would turn to religion to get that comfort, get that um, that safe that safe feeling that, like, God is there for me, right? And so uh, I didn't feel that with Islam, unfortunately. When I had that traumatic event, it never occurred to me that, oh, Allah's there for me, right? He's here to look after me. He's here to guide me through this difficult time. In fact, I never sought that, let's say, that feeling. So I ultimately, a few people during that difficult time had told me that, why don't you just reach out to Allah, pray, right? Like, you'll get more comfort in it. But again, even through praying, I just felt like it was so forced, right? Why do I have to do this whole ritual of washing myself, being cleansed, and then getting into bring my prayer mat and then pray through this whole repetition to finally be able to offer my prayer, right? It just felt forced. It didn't feel natural for me. At one point I felt like this is not normal. Like, I'm just gonna go to hell. Like, literally, that's how it felt. But luckily, I guess God saw that I was struggling, right? Yeshua saw that I was struggling, having those internal conflicts, that He led me to a path. So I'm going to talk about in my next video that how this came to it, and I'll talk about that phase that pretty much turned me away from Islam and moved towards Yeshua. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you all soon. Please leave any comments, any feedback and suggestions about my video here. I will get into more depth of this journey and share with you all. I feel very fortunate that Yeshua gave me this outlet where I can share my journey, but also welcome in more brothers and sisters that are also in that similar situation that I am in, where we're having those internal battles and figuring out that what direction I need to get into. How do I be more connected to God? Thank you so much, and I hope you all have a blessed Sabbath.